We haven't caught up since shit got wild at San Pedro.
Yes, indeed, in the Blue Mountains.
Yes, which, based on the fact it's illegal, I'm not actually sure if we can mention that bit, but we just did.
I was about to say that just as it came out of my mouth. I was like,
Too late. For any of those that haven't been exposed to this wild world of plant-based medicine, what is San Pedro? Because a lot of people, I reckon, have heard of ayahuasca these days. It's kind of the new black.
Yep.
I'm doing it in a few weeks, actually.
Are you?
Yeah, I have to let you know how I get on. But San Pedro doesn't get the same airtime.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I think, I don't know. I guess what it seems to me these days is that people kind of, especially in the LA scene in America for some reason, I don't know, ayahuasca is like quite popular. It seems like the thing to kind of do, or like the latest fad.
Yeah.
Which I think, is a good thing, but also I think it's something that it needs to be like honoured and respected, and not just kind of the hip thing to do. But yeah, San Pedro, like I think that compared to some people's stories that they've told me, San Pedro is a little bit more gentle.
I felt that.
Which I think some people kind of prefer it to. I haven't done ayahuasca myself.
I've been trying to convince you for a while. I've mentioned it a couple of times. Are you open now?
Yes, I'm becoming more open to doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I'll line one of those up.
Yeah.
For those that don't know what it is, what is San Pedro? And two, what's the difference between San Pedro and Aya?
So San Pedro is obviously like a plant from the Amazon, which people have been doing for thousands of years, mostly with shamans and things like that. But I'm not completely aware of like the major differences. Both of them, take you into an altered state, and you kind of go on like a healing journey, and things come to you. Like you can obviously set your intention with.
Did you set your intention?
Yeah.
Did you? I can't remember if you told me to set my intention or just to let it be, but whatever my intention was didn't show up, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I got hit in a number of different ways, which was great.
What ways were they, Blake?
Well, mine, like, I want you to go into your experience in a sec, but like, I hadn't even told my brother this. Hey, bro, this is about you. So when I did it, my brother came up. Right. And of all relationships, family stuff, whatever else, I literally did not even put him in the equation. And there were a few parts of mine that was weird. But I remember like getting really upset about him. Nothing bad's happened to us. We're just probably not as close as we used to be. But again, for no other reason than life, which is a very poor excuse, might I add. But I just remember being like crying about him. This is so weird that he's hearing it for the first time on this anyway. And just like the tears that were rolling down my face were like icicles.
Really?
Like icicles. I remember grabbing it a couple of times thinking that they were dry, like dry ice, just coming down my eyes. That was my main kind of thing that came up. And then I remember, because you're laying out on, how many hours were we laying out in the paddock for? A long time.
I don't know, to be honest,
Oh, you weren't even out there, were you?
No, I kind of went in between being inside and lying down, and then also being outside as well.
It was a beautiful day. I was outside most of the day, but I remember being fascinated by the ants.
As you
As you are when you're having a little trip of the balls. And them just moving so fast. And for whatever reason, I was just like, I don't reckon ants are present at all. Look at how fast they're moving, and they're on a mission. They bump into each other and they just go around. They don't even stop for a chin wag. Go around each other and just keep going on. And I could not tell you how many hours I was like replaying that thought in my mind and looking at ants. But it was a big part of the day. Not sure what the message is in that other than be more present, which is a good one.
Less doing.
Less doing. Yeah, actually that's a big lesson. You taught me that as well.
Yeah.
Less doing, more being.
Yep.
Was another one there. And then the third bit that really, and I've actually journaled, I should actually read the journal in at some stage, or just let it be, whatever. The third bit that really stood out was I remember watching a cloud, and I just remember watching it dissolve. And since that day, what was it, January last year that we did it? Feb last year. I haven't spent too much time lying on my back looking at the clouds, but every time I look up at a cloud, I'm like, how long was I watching that cloud for that I remember seeing it completely dissolve into nothing?
Could be hours.
Could be
minutes,
hours.
Could be seconds. Who knows?
I get the feeling it wasn't seconds, but I reckon it was along the hours mark. But those were my three main punchy things. And then just my love for nature, just like the greens in the grass and the colour of the bark and everything was so heightened. And I think I've got I think my love for nature just got stronger post that.
Yeah, it definitely connects you into nature, like quite powerfully.
And I think you will remember this, and I can't remember it, but I feel like you're the one who told me. San Pedro's the grandfather medicine, and ayahuasca's the grandmother.
Yep.
So, not sure entirely what that means, but it was a very grounding experience compared to what you get with ayahuasca, which is like the wildest of roller coasters. I've had marijuana twice. Last time I had it was in year 10, and I greened out and fell asleep in my mate's mum's veggie patch.
So similar to what you do.
So similar, that was my similar experience to San Pedro, where it was a really blissful state is the word I was looking for. Is that what you got? Actually, no, you had a wild experience, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, so I've done it 6 times now. And
solid.
Yeah, so each time has kind of been different. Some of it I've been pretty floored.
Yep.
And other times it's felt like pretty light. And yeah, I don't know, like I always do it with 2 of my girlfriends. Are kind
Same
of,
two that I met, yeah.
Yeah, and they're in the same kind of
space,
wellness space.
Yeah.
So to be honest, like I've had some of the best weekends of my life up there. I know that sounds a bit weird, but I don't know. I've got like the medicine's kind of taken me on a journey from I remember sitting there and we were all in the room at the time. I know you're not supposed to really like talk, but we're known as kind of like
you and the 2 girls were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like known as the naughty girls.
Yeah,
and,
good.
So we were sitting there and I don't think I've ever laughed so hard. I was almost wetting my pants with like tears just like streaming down my eyes. And I just felt so happy. And then all of a sudden I was just like, and I just like burst into tears. And they're like, are you okay? And what's wrong with you? And I said, it's weird. Like I can't, it's so sad that we can experience such happiness, but we're so bogged down by everything else that we don't actually feel how I was just feeling. And I was just like, ah, and they're like, okay.
That was the same day. That was the same day that I was there, wasn't it? I feel like I know this story. Or was it the year before that you had that?
No, I think it was the year before or the year before
okay.
that. Yeah, but I've definitely just up and down. Takes you on a journey, that's for sure.
I feel like, do you know Aubrey Marcus?
Yeah.
Oh God, I love him. I got to stop talking about him. But I feel like he talks about it really well, and that whatever your dark is, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Just know that that's part, like, and when you've done it, have you been conscious enough to go, this is just like a moment, or it's so engulfing that like you think it's reality type thing?
No, I've always kind of had my
perspective.
Yeah, wits about me. I don't, as I said, I think it's definitely, and you'd obviously know because you've done ayahuasca, but, and I haven't. So I've heard people kind of explain ayahuasca as more, not violent, but just...
I think violent's a good word.
Violent. Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Just more, just intense and heavy and just like, like I've, people purge with ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Both ends, and it can be the same with
totally. Have you vomited with San Pedro?
The very first time I did it, I was out of my friends the first one too.
Really?
And when you actually purge and you throw up, they say to actually look at it.
Did you see anything in it?
You know what you're actually purging.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you saw in it?
Yeah, it was just fear of engaging in life.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, shit, okay, here we go.
I love that.
Yeah.
So to set the scene for people without giving names away because it's illegal, what talk us through the experience, like this little ceremony that we had before.
Yeah.
We had dinner after, didn't we? Yeah, that dinner.
Yeah, so you meet and you have, you sit in ceremony before you actually drink, and that's when she kind of goes around and you say your intention that you want.
Was that what it was? Yeah, I can't remember it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then you have to keep it down for at least 40 minutes.
Yeah.
so that you know that you've had your dose. So that's when you kind of go around and say your intention and things. And then, with this one, I know that some places are run like a bit more strict and you cannot speak and you've got to be here and whatever. But that's kind of what I also like about the one that we did was that it was kind of, you can either go over here, you can be in your room, you can be in the hall, you can, it's kind of your journey. So, so you go off and the journey will commence. Like it might not hit you straight away, but sometimes it comes on a little bit harder or a little bit softer.
Did yours come on slow?
Yeah.
Because I remember doing it and I remember like, I don't think this has kicked in.
And then you're like, hold on a second.
Yeah. So the person that came with me, I reckon they held it down for 41 minutes and then vomited. Like literally holding it in, but and I was like, oh, yours has kicked in, clearly. But because it doesn't like, you don't just stop and all of a sudden you're zonked or you're tripping. Like it just felt like gradually I was just lighter and lighter and more bliss and more bliss. And to the point where I thought I was fine. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a pretty blissful state.
Yeah.
And then I remember going back to my room and just sitting out and then just the thoughts of my brother come up and just started like just bawling for God knows how long. And then looking at the plants and everything and them just having a real like different feel about them and then me just feeling like I could relax into earth.
Yeah,
almost.
It's like you're connected to nature and just everything. It's like you just, you kind of, I mean, I've gone through states where you feel at one or whatever, and you are like, it's a very peaceful kind of feeling, having that connection with everything. And then other times I've had to like lie down and I'm not actually like, I'm not trying to control the journey or anything, but you just literally need to rest because you know that the medicine is doing the work for you. Whereas other times I'm like, okay, grandfather, show me where this issue started or show me, all sorts of different things. Like I've had, I set the intention for, to show me why I couldn't get past a particular thing in my life. Yeah. Where I'm pretty good with that generally, like, I'll work through it or whatever. And then it literally just, all I saw was, it just went like...
Really?
Straight to a vision from like a past life.
Yeah. Kidding.
Oh, yeah. In the time of the nights. And it was in like a kind of, I don't know, like a huge kind of castle.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was a princess, but I was in one of those, long dresses. And my husband at the time... what
was his name?
I've got no idea, I'm sorry. All I saw in this vision was he slit my throat.
Really?
Yep. So, and that kind of came back to trust with, a certain issue. Yep. And then, I continued my journey, and then later on in the afternoon, I was thinking about a particular person I know. Yeah. And why I can't, like,
connect.
There's just something there.
Yeah.
And I said, show me what this is. And all I saw was the exact same scene, but the person from this lifetime who I'm having an issue with was the husband that killed me and slit my throat in the past lifetime. And I was like, holy shit, no wonder I can't get past that because they killed me in a past life.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who you met just before, Joey, was talking to him last night about ancestral trauma. And I feel like you've done a post on it recently.
A little while ago, yeah. So basically, whenever, as you know as well, your parents would have passed all of their conditioning and their programming and how they view the world onto you. So that becomes your blueprint and framework for how you see the world and I guess how
your reality.
Your reality.
Yeah.
So, and that goes from generation to generation to generation. That just kind of doesn't, your grandparents taught the same things to their parents. So what happens is, and, I think I did in a post as well, it ran in your family until it ran into you. Yeah. So unless you break the cycle of the same issues being passed down from generation to generation, it's just going to keep going and you're going to perpetuate the cycle. So I always say to people, one of the biggest things you can do before you have kids or even get married is to work on your shit, because otherwise, it's going to be passed on to your kids. So
Yeah.
it's super
Massive.
important. Yeah.
So jumping back, but coming forward, when you go and do San Pedro, is it with a clear intention of healing, clearing, conscious expansion? Like, what's your desire? Because part of me, the adventurous part of me is like, fuck it, I'll try everything once. And then the conscious part's like, well, yeah, cool. It's absolutely going to help bring stuff to light, or it's going to help heal, or all of the above. But there's probably nothing I won't try once, even from a experimental, fun, adventurous point of view. But where does your head go with it?
God, like kind of different every time. Either it's something that's been coming up for me in my life, like at the time before I go and do it, or it's something that I've, been wanting to work on for a while. Or sometimes I'm like, just, some people have the intention of just show me love or show me bliss.
Yeah.
Or, it could be literally anything. So for me, God, I can't even remember what some of my
Is it
intentions
have you done back-to-back the last 3 years?
Yeah.
So I joined you for year 2. Last year. Did
yeah,
you do it this year?
What, didn't we do it this year? Oh, I don't
Nah,
know.
it was last year.
Oh, right. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
And every experience is so different, isn't it?
Definitely different.
It's something that is interesting. The whole ayahuasca experience is, as we've said, a lot more full on as a general rule of thumb. But even people that are there, whether it's their first or 50th, there's still this nervous energy of like,
Oh, yeah.
this could be anything.
Yeah, shit. Like I think when you're at that one, I literally almost get anxiety. Like I don't get anxious like day to day. I don't, have
Really?
people-
Yeah.
I literally, I don't know what that feels, but if
If there,
if I had to say what anxiety
That's the
was, it would
closest
be
thing to it.
before. Yeah, I just
Really?
get so nervous for
Yeah.
some reason. Part of it is because I can't, like I'll drink the medicine and then I'll be like, like I'll just want to gag.
oh, it's horrible.
Because the medicine is pretty smart because you have to want to get that down and you have to want to work on your stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't taste like cacao or anything.
There's nothing nice about that taste.
Oh God,
at all.
it haunts me.
I know. I wish I'd just make it like lemon flavour or something.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
But so you've definitely got to want to work on your stuff. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Up to you how deep you want to go. But what got you into the healing space in the first place?
So I was lucky enough to, when I was, I think, 17, I went out with a guy for like 4 years. And he was kind of very much into, self-development and working on yourself. And he used to give me a couple of books, and that was kind of the catalyst for me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that definitely opened me up. And then I was pretty interested in it. And I started to go to different healers and try different modalities as I got older. And then, what was mine? I was actually personal training. I was a personal trainer.
That's when we
for
touched
years.
base.
I've been a PT for years.
No, sorry,
And
you were on your
then-
way out of PT, weren't you?
Yeah.
Semi much
Yeah.
when we. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I knew the whole time I was doing it that there was more to just calories in, calories out, do this exercise,
Yeah, God.
it's
Tell me about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I just got sick of the physical.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was working at a gym and a girl who worked there had just done her Reiki course.
Yeah.
And she said, can I use you as like a guinea pig? I need to practice. And I was like, sure, having absolutely no idea what she was about to do to me.
Yeah.
And we had a session. I was like I was pretty blown away. I was like, whoa, okay, like I can actually feel the difference.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, because it's not like a tangible thing.
Yes. Oh,
I'm
God.
sure that you come into
Fully
this
aware, yeah.
problem as well.
Yeah.
People think that it's not real.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an experiential
Totally.
thing. So so she did a session on me, and then I think I literally booked in for the next weekend to do my level 1.
Really?
Yeah. And so back in the day, you had to do your level 1, wait 6 months, because each time you do
Integration.
an attunement, you're basically attuned to like a higher energy.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of go through an integration, and you go through your own detox or journey as well, because as you I guess, vibrate at a higher level, things that no longer resonate on that level will drop away. So
Yeah.
that's like friendships, jobs, work, and anything. So yeah, you kind of go through your own journey. So it's between 1 and 2, it was 6 months, and then level 2 and master was a year. These days, people, you know, they're doing 1, 2, and 3 in a weekend, which I don't know. I mean, obviously anything goes,
not
but
sure
I think
about
it's
that.
important to integrate into a different,
Totally.
yeah. So that was kind of what opened me up to like the energy field, and then I don't know. I was kind of aware of how your thoughts and how you know, I was always interested in the mind-body connection. And then I randomly, the Reiki Center that I did my course at, they sent out a kinetics
Oh, that's right.
flyer.
Yeah.
So Philip Rafferty was coming into Australia, and I did I did like a separate kind of course, and then I just booked straight in to do kinetics.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, it kind of works with kinesiology and energy healing as well. So it kind of blends everything into one, and it's really fluid. So you can work with clearing trauma on an energetic level. You can work on, you know, beliefs. You can work on self-sabotage. You can work on basically anything.
Yeah.
So physical stuff and emotional stuff,
Yeah.
which is kind of one and the same, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. I think when I first came to you, it was post Worrall, wasn't it? And at that point in time, energy was a new concept to me.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I remember you didn't like the word trauma.
I know. And now I use it every second day.
Yeah.
And that whole like masculine kind of carry on of like this headstrong element
Yeah.
of like, I'll, you know, muscle my way to success, or I'll muscle my way through this breakup or whatever else. And you really were one of the catalysts for me exploring energy, because it's not tangible, so to speak. E.g., go for a run, work up a sweat, get your heart rate up, you'll feel it's tangible. It can be hard from a measuring point of view, I think, other than, oh, I don't have that like response to this person, or all of a sudden I feel lighter when I leave.
Yeah.
And every session that I came to you, I felt heavier in this session. Timing of coming and seeing you post a breakup. And
To be
then,
honest, it was the same for me, because it was a few months, I think, after San Pedro.
yeah,
And I think, I think, to be honest, I was going through like a dark night of the soul at that time.
Yeah.
Like I was just like going through my own shit and just feeling, I don't know, just a bit low and just,
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't ideal, but I guess it was all meant to happen at the timing
yeah,
that it did. But
there's plenty
yeah.
going on. How do you explain to a slightly cynical person the energy component of shifting energy, clearing energy, energetic fields? Anyone who's looking at kind of Reiki or energy work, how do you explain it best to them?
So I kind of, I always say like your body has its own energy flow, yeah? So you would have heard of that in like Chinese or Asian cultures as qi or ki.
Yeah.
And basically the things that cause, I guess, illness or disease is a block in that flow, yeah? So the things that cause the blockages are all the traumas, all the emotional things that ever happened to us, yeah? So your cells actually have a memory of everything.
Yeah.
So, and your consciousness, yeah? It's like a computer, a computer chip. So, you know, when you experience like a trauma or, you know, I guess like a negative event, or however you want to say it, something that isn't pleasant to go through.
Yeah.
Those emotions don't just like, like fly away and dissipate into the air. You push them down.
Yeah.
So you suppress them, and they go somewhere. Do you know
I
what
think,
mean?
just on that quickly and jump back in that story, this was a long time ago, obviously, but I think when you use the word trauma, I was like, oh, no, I've never had any trauma.
No, I remember. Yeah, you're like, yeah, sweet.
Oh,
I was
God.
like, okay, I have my work cut out for me.
Yeah. So for those listening, I was obviously I don't think I was skeptical, like, because I've always been open to anything, but I just had zero understanding of trauma, energy work, triggers.
Yeah. And I think when people hear the word trauma, they think car accident, like
Yes,
full
that's
on,
right. I remember this
like
conversation.
really acute
Yeah.
stuff. But it doesn't actually have to be that. It can be kind of more low grade, you know, it can be obviously emotional, physical, spiritual, mental trauma. So,
Yeah. Can you give examples of those different types of trauma so people realise how traumatised they actually are?
okay, so I guess, you know, going through like a breakup
Yeah.
or, you know, your parents getting divorced or, you know, bullying, basically anything that's hard for your soul to endure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, a relative
Totally
concept
where
to
I was gonna go
everybody.
next, relative,
you know,
yeah.
what kind of affects one person won't affect
Yep.
another. You know, physical things is even like, you know, a car accident or stubbing a toe, a vaccination, a bee sting,
Yeah.
burning yourself. Yeah, you can have, I guess, spiritual trauma as well, where sometimes if something happens, I guess you can feel like whatever you believe in, like God, the universe, Buddha,
Yeah.
whatever it is, may like abandon you or, you know, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And there's also like mental trauma as well, which, you know, could be abuse or, you know, I guess that goes for emotional and physical as
Yeah.
well. So, you know, there's all different types, and every time you have a trauma, it basically creates like a glitch in your system. Yeah. So
Yeah.
from when you're born until now, present day, you've had thousands that we're not even aware of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I work with someone with kinegetics, you're basically accessing past cellular data. So it's like I'm a a USB plugging into your computer, yeah? So your body's consciousness. So your thoughts and your emotions all have a vibration or a frequency, yeah? So as you know, someone might come to me because they've had, you know, I don't know, a breakup or a car accident or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what happens is the client will speak, and as they speak, I'm basically muscle monitoring. So as they speak, their arm's going to lock, and that basically represents that what you're speaking about, the vibration of that word or the frequency of that word, is bringing up a stress for your body. So it's like pressing file save.
Yeah.
Every time the arm locks, file save. So they might be saying, I was driving down the street and I saw the car's headlights. Your arm might lock.
Yeah.
So it's like file save.
Yeah.
And they might keep explaining the story, and then you say, okay, body, so in relation to this trauma, does the client need to give me more information? Do I need to put something from a book? Do we need to do affirmations? Do we need to lock in any body, like
Yeah.
literally anything?
Yeah.
And then, like, this is in a nutshell, obviously, and then you say, okay, so do we need anything more in circuit? No. And then it'll literally tell me where the glitch is. So normally one of the three is an organ, gland, or chakra.
Yep.
So I would ask that question. It'll land on, just say it lands on chakra. Then you say, okay, is in your, obviously there's more than 7, which people don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you basically scan all of the different chakras. It'll lock on one of them, and then
There's blocking that.
Sorry?
So there's a block in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, so show me where in your energy field
Yeah.
the actual glitch is.
Yeah.
So what happens is by, I guess, removing or clearing on an energetic level those glitches, it's shifting your energy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was once a stress for you to say or bringing up a stress for you, the thought or the belief or the trauma, whatever it is, it's no longer there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, it's like with the spiral. Do you know spiral dynamics?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't.
Yeah,
know
so I
much
did
about
that last year, and as you know me quite well, having done some work, I've always been very, or my approach, which is very much a male thing, I guess, is all head. Like in terms of headstrong, try to force your way through. So for me to go and do an energy course last January, it was around the same time I did San Pedro with you.
Oh, so that's an energy cause, is it spiral?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Was like the whole trusting process of knowing that my body has all the answers.
Yeah.
And if I can tap into that to get out of the head and into the body is a fascinating process in itself. But what you essentially saying is that you are finding that block through working through the energy and then removing that block so the energy moves freer and is less traumatized.
Yeah. So I guess with my modality with kinegetics,
Yeah.
that the tool or the instrument that you do that with is through muscle testing.
Yeah.
Because if you ask your body a question, it'll literally give you the answer.
Yeah.
So you just have to obviously know the answer,
Yeah.
the questions to ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on an energetic level, clearing those things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, which is
Totally.
the most finite level that you can clear something on.
Yeah.
So a lot of the difference between talk therapy, and I have nothing against talk therapy.
It has its place.
It has
But
its place.
yeah,
Like it gives
totally.
you amazing practical tools and
Yeah.
things like that. But you can keep talking about the same stuff
Yes.
over and over and over again, but you're not actually clearing anything.
Nah.
Yeah. So
Totally.
everything has its place, as I said.
Yeah.
But this is just getting in on that
Root
extra
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you clear yourself, or you prefer to get it done elsewhere?
I prefer for someone else to hold the space for me.
Yeah.
So I have one of my best friends who also does kinergetics, and
Yeah.
a couple of friends who do different things, and we all kind of swap in each other or do group stuff or whatever. I also do stuff on myself.
Yeah.
I try to do something every day, like even if it's before I go to bed, just hold a particular gland or alarm point or energy center or whatever you
Yeah.
want to do. I kind of just
Yeah.
I kind of just tune in and I'm like, okay, what do I need?
I assume you have to be quiet, and despite having done the energy work last year, and it now been 18 months, I still am very head, so I don't trust myself just yet to know the energy.
Yeah.
But I
Do you
assume
mean yours or someone else's?
to test myself,
Right.
to muscle test myself or do any clearing myself, there's still blocks around that, which if I go on to talk therapy, I'm probably not going to get to the bottom of it. But I assume you would be quite in tune now with yourself and your body.
Yeah, I literally know, like physically, I always know the second that something is not out. I mean, I go see, like on a physical level, I go see a guy who does body work.
Yeah.
And he's probably sick of seeing my face because I'm like, I'm sorry, but I know that this
I'm
is
out
not
here.
right. Like,
Yeah.
you know, even coming from personal training, someone's like, oh, this is sore. I'm like, go get it sorted.
Yeah.
And then they don't. And then months later, they're like, oh, this is really bad. I'm like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Like, if something's not right and you can feel it,
Yeah.
sort it out,
Yeah.
you know?
How does it affect your world now? Because I can only assume with the heightened sense of self that you're more, your experience is heightened around everyone in terms of what you feel, what you experience. Like, there's good and bad in that, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I was actually thinking about this yesterday. It kind of makes you, on one level, not put up with some stuff
People?
or behavior or
Yeah.
people or energy or,
Yeah.
you know, you'll feel like when you spend time with someone, you're like, you know, people don't really understand that whole energetic thing. It's like, well, you actually do. Humans are very intuitive.
Yeah. They're just
You
out of
can-
tune with it.
Yeah, or you can walk into a room or you can meet someone and you're like, oh, that was really nice, or I feel good up, you know, after they walk away.
Yeah.
Or they'll walk away and you'll be like, they just sucked the living day. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you can feel that when you
Totally.
walk into somewhere and you're like, ooh, it just feels like a bit heavy.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
God, yeah.
And we are all born like very intuitive.
Mm.
But I think as we're growing up, you know, like they say kids in the first 7 years, like they're extremely intuitive and,
Yeah.
you know,
We ruin it
yeah.
massively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, those so-called friends that they're seeing over there,
Mm.
you know, could be spirits or they
Yeah.
could be seeing energy or whatever it is. But I think that because we don't really understand it, you know, people kind of just shut those
Yeah.
aspects down.
Yeah.
So,
with that heightened experience now for you, how does that shape your reality, like pros and cons?
as I said, you kind of are quite picky who you give your energy to.
Yep.
But also, if someone's acting like an asshole, you kind of also have compassion and you can see why they're doing things. That's
Yeah.
like the fine line.
Yeah.
It's like, at what point is it self-preservation, and at what point, like, how long is a piece of string? Like, how long do you know where to keep, like, I don't know, I guess, entertaining someone's
Totally.
energy?
Yeah.
because of how they actually are and
Yeah.
you know what's kind of going on for them. Or, you know.
I have this conversation all the time.
Yeah.
Post NLP and obviously the work that's followed on from that, I don't put anyone in a bad category anymore. I'm just like, it's like, this is heavy, but that's just where we're going to go. So a guy called me who's been following me on social for a while and was like, mate, I know this is kind of heavy. I was like, okay. I kind of want to kill this person. And I was like, okay.
Like legit?
Legit.
Right.
And he's like, for whatever reason, just the message that you put out and everything, it feels like I can speak to you and there will be no judgment. I was like, well, there's no judgment, but like you've put me in a little bit of a situation here. I'm not going to speak or anything. I just want you to at least acknowledge that. That was an extreme case of me feeling now that I don't have judgment of people, but I'm like, I wonder, like, even a couple of mates that cheat, like everyone's ripping them to shreds and everything. And it's like, depending on your definition of what a relationship should look like, you know, each their own. But for me now, it's always the why, like the why behind how they got there, where on that timeline did things go a certain direction. And I don't know if you see this, but what started to be seen for me over the last probably 6 months is any behaviour that I deem skewed, which is obviously just my reflection anyway, but I see the little version of them for whatever reason. It's like the
Is it like the inner child?
Yeah, the inner child. I just see it like over the top of the behaviour that has just played out. Like it's just this automatic thing where I'm like, oh, that's little, you know, Sophie, that's little Stephen, and just see this like beauty in the inner child that just jumps. It's almost like the inner child jumps over the top and goes, hey, don't forget me.
Yeah.
Like this is the truth of me.
Yeah.
I just got traumatized or something went wrong along the way.
Definitely.
Is that the empathy, compassion, understanding that you find yourself in?
You can see through the coping mechanism.
Yeah.
You know, like you're born as like your authentic self and who you're meant to be in this world. But as a result of your, you know, and it's not their fault at all, they're doing the best job they can, your parenting especially, you will, in order to get the love and acceptance and things from your parents, you will, you know, and I guess you can liken our conditioning to, I guess, almost like the, what's the word? The domestication of a dog.
Yeah.
You know, because it's punishment and reward these days.
Totally.
So kids
Yes.
kids are really afraid of the punishment, but they're also scared of not getting the reward. Which, you know what I mean? Like, which is the love, which is the acceptance and stuff from your parents. So, you know, and it's little things like if you were young and you went to your parents with, you know, your needs or you know, your wants or desires or whatever, and your parents could have been, I don't know, too busy, too involved in their own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things going on, and that they just were emotionally not available to you.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of, as a child, in your child's brain, you think, okay, so I'm a burden for my parents. Yeah.
Totally
so
get
you
it.
kind of start to put your needs to the side, and then you form coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
And I guess get further and further away from who you really are, who you were born to be, in order to get that, like, who do I need to be in my family in order to get the love and acceptance from my parents?
Oh, God, it's big.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's why, you know, so even from just that, like later in life, you might find yourself being like a people pleaser, or you might find yourself really, I don't know, needy in relationships or whatever, however it comes out.
Yeah.
You know.
You'll love this because 3 years ago when we first met, these aren't words that would have come out of my mouth. But I was talking to a mate recently, you know, everyone's talking about goals, and I have such a different perspective on goals now, and each year it gets, in my eyes, I'll say the word cleaner, but all that really means is away from the superficial and the materialistic to who I want to show up or how I want to show up in the world. And I was saying to him that, like, for me, my goal now, which, you know, 3 years ago might have been a financial goal or, you know, a materialistic, is like, what does me look like without approval, addictions, ego, acceptance and validation? which is a strong little journey that I'm
What
taking.
does that look like, Blake?
Wouldn't have a clue. Would not have a clue, but I'll find out.
Okay.
But and a lot of that obviously stems from childhood. And it's not like, it's also, I want people to keep in mind, it's our perception as well.
Definitely.
So there's reality in it in terms of, maybe you did have to alter because your parents wouldn't, but maybe it's also your perception as a 2-year-old of a situation, e.g. mum's not paying attention to me, and because you're in this narcissistic, what do they call it? Like, what are you in? You're in a different brainwave where you essentially think it's all about you up until the age of 7, this state of hypnosis where everything is your fault and about you and whatever else.
You take on the responsibility
Of
for
everything.
your parents' emotional state.
Totally.
You think that they're like that because of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take on everything. So hence the reason that, it may be a reality, like when you squeal like a pig in the supermarket and your mum just turns away and doesn't approve of that, then there's a level of approval, acceptance that you might be seeking later in life. But it comes up to your understanding. But there's a lot of that happens in our world now.
Definitely.
How would you, and telling someone how to parent, I assume, is
I don't know if this is...
all right, we'll use yourself as an example then, because going down another path would be a little bit crazy. How would you parent 5 years ago to how you would parent now with the tools and understanding that you've got and the implications or problems that you can cause your kids later in life?
That's actually a really good question. I think, and obviously it's so much easier to see other people's stuff.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So much easier.
Yeah.
Like I look at, either people with kids or family or whoever, and I can see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I won't get into it, but how would I parent differently? That's a good question.
I assume at the very base you would try to anchor yourself and hold an open heart through all ranges of carry on and emotions and whatever it may be. Yeah.
Definitely. I think also, growing up, I think it was very much in that generation, oh, you'll be right, or, pull yourself together or whatever. Whereas now I think it's kind of going the other way where some parents are like
over the
too
top.
helicopter and they're too, oh, don't feel this,
Yeah.
And that's also creating like a different kind of problem where kids, as you like to call them, sensitive snowflakes.
Sensitive snowflakes.
I guess there's like a happy balance and a happy medium.
Yeah.
Where it's, I guess also if you've done the work, you're coming from a different place. You're coming from a place of either, well, I guess you'd like to think that. You can either come out of a place of love or fear.
Yep.
It's one of the.
We're only born with love though, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the more that you work on yourself as a person, the better the parent you're going to become.
Yeah.
Because your kids obviously are learning all of their stuff from you.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the way that your kids are acting, where
Guess
do you
who
think
it
they
is?
learn it from generally?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously different things come into play, like teachers and and also outsiders and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think the more work you do on yourself, the more you can come from a place of love and say, okay, how can I respond in the best way to my child? How can I make sure that they're heard, that, they feel loved, that they feel that you're emotionally available to them?
Yeah.
Kind of more those kinds of things. Does that make sense?
Totally does. And it's interesting because, and this only clicked for me recently, there's always things clicking, and obviously our parents always do the best they can.
Yeah.
Preface everything
No
around
one's fault.
parenting, around the fact they're always doing the best they can. And often, whatever they're doing is just a replica of what happened the generation before.
Definitely.
But I was a fairly challenged child, and perfect example of what we're just talking about, where I realised that love was taken from me, so to speak, if I didn't act a certain way.
Yeah.
And what I noticed only recently, which apologies to every single girlfriend prior to that, keep in mind I'm just doing the best I can, was that I also took on that habit of like, if there was too much carry on, so to speak, which I now know is a beautiful array of female emotions, which I just wasn't strong enough to be able to hold the fort for,
Yeah.
that I would withdraw love, which is horrible. And you don't like, the thing with all of this, I shouldn't say all of this stuff, the thing with a lot of this stuff is you don't know what you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
if I knew my first girlfriend back, 15 years ago now, who I was in a, full credit to her because I was 21 and an absolute moron and she dated me for 3.5 years. She's the most unconditional person on the planet. But like,
and don't forget that she also attracted you into her life for a reason. So
true. Yeah.
You'll attract
full
someone
credit
that complements your issues.
Yeah. God, she put up with a few. But had I known that back then, personally, I would have chosen to start to go about things differently.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing the best they can. You bring light to what's working, what's not.
Awareness is 51% of the battle.
Yeah, seriously.
Awareness,
you can't do
change
anything without the awareness.
But once you actually get that awareness, it's if you act on it, what you're not consciously and actively changing, you're actually choosing.
Totally.
So you can't blame
That's a
anyone
different
else
bit.
but yourself.
I don't know how you feel. I still beat myself up about stuff that I used to do, even though I didn't have the awareness around it.
You what, sorry?
Beat myself up about things, like e.g. last relationship, the relationship before that, things that I didn't know I was doing or why I was doing it. You're still like, fuck, I wish I did better. Like, that person deserved better. Even though, like, had I known better, personally for me, I feel like I'm quite good at when I know better, I'll choose better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that forward because you're only doing the best you can and a lot of it's generational stuff. Where do you draw the line? And you mentioned it briefly before, these days, of whether it's a friend, whether it's in the dating game of like, I see you and everything that you bring in, or not everything, stuff that you bring in is making this really challenging. Because you'd be more empathetic, more understanding, more compassionate now of like, I see the higher self, or I see the true self, and this baggage that you brought's really detrimental to our relationship, friendship, acquaintance, whatever it might be. Do you find it a harder to draw the line in the sand?
I guess, so recently I was dating a guy.
Good.
And good. And hello, if you're listening, you know who you are. And obviously, as I said, we will attract people who are going to complement our own stuff.
Yep.
And so to be honest, I think this was the universe's way of, you know how they say something will keep on happening until you've learnt the lesson?
Yep. God.
I think I learnt the lesson with this one.
Awesome. That's so exciting for you.
I think it was me standing in my power and being like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
And he wasn't treating me badly or anything, but just communication and I pulled him up on it like a couple of times. So you'd think that he would kind of change. I mean, who knows?
Totally.
Maybe he just wasn't that into me or, but I was like, you know what? I deserve better than that. Yeah. He could be doing this for X, Y, Z. This could have happened to him. His parents may have interacted in this way, but I'm like, you know what? That's not what I want.
Yeah.
So you... And he tried to contact me again, and I was like...
Bye, Felicia.
See you later.
So for you now, with your understanding, is it more a case of you're more unconditional and understanding, but still very strong on your boundaries and what will work and what not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also human as well. I'm learning and, but I think, stronger with boundaries, I think once you get stronger within yourself, you feel like it's probably easier to just
implement boundaries.
To stand in your power.
Totally.
And know what you do want and know what you don't want and not really accept anything other than that.
Totally.
At the same time being understanding, but if something's going on or they're not treating you the way that you want them, to voice that and just be like, okay, well,
there needs to be progress, doesn't there?
Yeah.
For you to feel comfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because no one's going to be perfect, but if you bring it to someone's attention, you're like, this isn't working for me. They take that away and focus on it and you try and move forward.
Yeah. You either try and change that or keep that in mind, because you know that that's someone's, you know, sore point or whatever. You know, if a relationship, I guess, is healthy,
Yeah.
your partner will know your past and your sore spots and whatever, and you'll, I guess, you know, that you'd expect that person to work on themselves.
Yeah.
But you'd also expect your partner to be aware of that and
Yeah.
to make you feel comfortable with that. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a really valid reason why this is happening to me. But
Is this love advice?
no, I won't go there just now. It's all too kind of fresh. But I probably have one deep conversation a week. And only a few days ago did I have 3 people reach out to me on the same day, females. And it's a fascinating space because I really am interested in the answer, and I'm still marinating in it. So I'm not going to give my thoughts, but I'm interested as to a female who's done a lot of work, how you see it. A lot of females who have been with their partner for however long, and there's this separation, so to speak, because they're growing and evolving and everything else, and their partner isn't. Do you see that? I get the feeling that you'd see that in your world a bit.
Yeah. It, I guess, can be a tricky one because, yeah, as you know, I guess in a relationship is in general,
Yeah.
you know, 2 people change
A lot.
as much as they do, you know,
Yeah.
in their lifetimes, and it's quite, you know, an interesting road to try and stay on like parallel lines the whole time. Especially when one is doing work on themselves and shifting stuff and, you know, evolving into a different person, I guess you could almost say.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely a hard one, but it's also, I think you should also be careful of people not getting on their high horse.
Spot on. This is recurring. For the feedback that I've got from people that I get strong opinions from, is that like spiritual high horse?
Yeah. It's like, well, I'm doing the work.
Yes.
It's like, well, this person is at a different point to you. They're a different journey. You're judging them on some level.
Spot on.
For
Beautifully
not
said.
doing it.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
It's a massively tricky one.
Definitely a tricky one. I guess for me, I've been lucky that some people that I've, you know, been with in the past, they've all kind of had, you know, that inkling to work on themselves, or they're at least open-minded to that.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if they weren't, then
would not work.
Yeah.
Imagine you with like someone that's not. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going away to do tea ceremonies, which is actually a form of DMT, and I'm going to have 2 days in the park, lying there for 8 hours, processing my past ancestral trauma.
Hold on, what?
Imagine you saying that to like...
Oh, right, yeah.
To Bob
no,
the-
I'm just going
to
go
Bob
like
the-
in, I
to
was
Bob
gonna
the
go
builder.
away for the weekend,
Yeah.
into the bush, get a little bit off my dial and
Yeah.
just trick balls, and
Yeah.
you know, people just think it's like hippy dippy stuff.
Yeah, he's like, nah, I'll keep that between you and I.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
I'll leave you with that one.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to the pub and watch the footy.
Just drown my
See
sorrows.
you on the
That's
other
my
side.
shit.
See you on the other side. So what is like, with all the work that you're doing, what does the next phase look like for you in terms of your awareness of where you're at and who you are is heightened? What does the next 6 months look like? Do you still set goals? Is it more a case of how you show up in the world every day? Is it more a case of peel back the layers and see what that resembles in terms of who my most authentic self is? Like, where does your head go in terms of moving from here?
For me at the moment, I think it's more creating, like, how do I want to live my life?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So I'd love, and I've been talking to a girl this week actually. You know, how can I work and maybe travel to like beautiful places or
Awesome.
whatever, you know, so whether that's doing retreats or, you know, who knows? She runs retreats, this girl. I'd love to get into that. It's kind of, how do I create, just a great life around my work, and how do I help people, I guess, while also, just, I don't even know how to explain it, just you know, being able to do the two at the same time.
Yeah.
Helping people and also living
Your best life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what that looks like, I'm not 100% sure yet.
You're just leaning into it.
Yeah, I'm just
Perfect.
kind of opening myself up to a few things, and it's weird because I've had a lot of I've done a little bit of travel recently, and a lot of people when they see me, they're like, "You're always on holidays. Like, what's the deal?"
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Like, I kind of I put out to the universe as well, like, how can I not get free stuff or anything, but, you know, help me, like, just do little bits and bobs. And, you know, I wanted to go to New York, and I will partly be doing some work there as well. And the dollar's really bad and things at the moment. I said, okay, universe, come on.
Work with me
Get
here.
me there, you know, in some kind of great way. And, you know, my little sister was like, oh, hey, if you just get like a trip to, a return trip to LA, I've got like 1 million points. I'll just get your LA to New York return. I was like, what? She was like, yeah. And I was like, thanks, universe. You know,
Perfect.
like just little things to... Yeah.
It's interesting because, again, just reflective of my world, which is different to everyone else's.
Yeah.
The people that have done more work have less attachment to a 1, 3, 5, 10-year plan, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
There's more...
Living the now.
Yeah. Like, as I said to you just before, if someone's to say, what's your goal? It's like, well, to see how I show up in the world with less ego, validation, acceptance, approval, and addictions or addictive behaviour.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you know, a house, like a cut, like I don't vibe with it anymore.
I know, it's funny.
It's not to say I don't want a house one day and a family and all that, but like...
When you don't value it, it's not like you're driving...
It's not a driving force for me anymore. And I believe anyway, with every layer that's peeled back or every trauma that's released or every dark that's brought to light, my world will become fuller and freer and more loving anyway. Yeah. And then the results will take care of themselves.
100%. Things will just start like flowing freely into your life when you need them. And
totally.
Yeah.
So just let my...
people.
Yeah. And I was saying, I know you met Joey just outside before, like we've got this little clique that is phenomenal. Like phenomenal. And it's... We all bring different things in, but I'd speak to most of them now once a week, once a fortnight. Yeah. And I think you probably picked up where I was at when I first started seeing you, but I really didn't like the version of me that was the Sydney version. And if I'm back here at some stage living, I'll be a lot more aware, but like constant state of that survival mode, like just it's not a good version. So to get away, reflect in Melbourne, which also was really confronting, you know, and I've mentioned it on the podcast with Joey of like, it's the first time I felt loneliness, like proper loneliness. Yeah. And I was around people and those people obviously doing the best they could. But that skill for me was one that I really wanted to develop of like holding space. And I never want anyone to feel the way that I felt ever. Yeah. Like it's horrible feeling.
I think it's worse sometimes when you feel lonely when you're
around people. Totally.
You're not connecting. You don't feel that anyone kind of really... Gets you.
Totally.
Yeah. That's, I think...
Yeah.
That's more challenging than I think of being alone.
Oh, 100%. And in this moment, which will be different in 6 months' time, my big focus on top of what I just said to you around ego and addiction and everything is to make sure that every person I come into contact with, whether it's coaching or one-on-one, is that if they're in a challenging space, or even if they're not in a challenging space, that they feel validated, heard, seen and understood. Yeah. Like you could have zero skills, and if you've got that skill of the art of listening essentially and holding space, you'll have people like give you money just to like be heard and seen and understood.
As I say, they don't remember what you say, but how you
totally feel. Yeah. And it's guys and girls, you know, like guys are feeling the same when they come and speak to me, like, dude, like my girlfriend doesn't get this and my wife doesn't. And for whatever reason, and it's probably no surprise that it's more females that you know, whether they're friends or people that I'm working with that are like, you know, like, I've been in this relationship for 7 years, 10 years, and we've had an hour conversation, and for the first time I feel heard, understood, seen, and everyone's doing the best they can, but that's scary for me.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It can be, and, you know, I've gone through different phases of that in my life as well. I mean, I'm not saying by any means
You're
that I'm
very
purpose
good at it.
or... That what?
You're very good at holding space.
Oh,
like,
thank you.
Very good at it.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't always been like that at all.
Oh, I was horrible.
Yeah.
Still working on it. But
yeah, everyone's a work in progress. But yeah, I guess it's an art, but it's also, you know, as we were saying before, the more you work on yourself, the more, I guess, heart-centered and stuff you are, and you can hold someone else's energy.
Totally.
You're coming from a place of compassion and love, and, you know, because a lot of the time, the people you draw into your life, or especially me with my clients, you'll a lot of the time attract people with the same issues or have had the same issues or have worked through the same stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can come from a different place and you kind of really understand how they feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good skill. I'd love everyone just to like Google how to hold space. Just spend a month learning. The world would be a lot better place if everyone can feel heard, seen, understood and validated, you know?
Definitely.
Because at the end of the day, validation is just reflective of where, like, for someone to validate my carry on, so to speak, 6 months ago, validating is just meeting you where you're at, you know, and validating that experience. I look at it now and go, mate, it's probably a bit over the top how you're going about things, but when everything's piling on top of you, you're like, I can't breathe. Like, it's just validating that moment and that experience.
Yeah.
As opposed to going, come on, pussy, get out. Like, fuck, man, that's not helpful.
No.
That is not helpful.
No. And I think also another thing is not just holding space, but listening.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes catch myself when I'm on the phone with my friend or whatever that I'll, you know, I might interrupt them or I might, you know, and like pull back and actually listen to what they're saying. Like don't listen to respond or put your 2 cents in or whatever. So I think that's also a really important skill, which I'm definitely still learning.
Totally. Aren't we both? Especially when we get excited. It's like, I'm ready to go. Because you can see, and I literally, with Joey, and when we release this, his will be the episode before yours, but I was literally using that as an example of like, because I've been so bad at being present, I hate to think what it's like to be on the receiving end of me. But literally, if someone was talking to me for that whole time I lived in Sydney, they'd be watching me and going, I can tell he's ready to speak. And I'm like, hold it down.
Wait for it.
There's my chance. Jump in. You know, like it's terrible. Yeah. You know, it's listening without the intent to speak or listening without judgment. And judgment's something we all do. But similar to you, I feel like the more educated I am, the less I'm judging.
Yeah.
And obviously the better spot I am in, naturally, that as well, the less I'm judging. But I do feel it's a really good space or lesson to learn. What do you want people to know about energy? And vibration? I
think, oh gosh, where do I even start? I think also, you know, even just getting back to what you were saying before, or I was saying, you know, you can't, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know, we can only see, I think they say 1% of the colour on the spectrum.
Really?
Yeah, we can't hear, you know, dogs and animals can hear frequencies that we can't hear. So does that mean they don't exist because we can't experience that?
That's fascinating.
You know, and even, you know, if you were to ask a scientist, like, what is love? You know, what's that feeling in your heart?
Yeah.
Like, they'll be like, oh, well, it comes down to the chemical reaction, or, you know, there's things that you can't explain or whatever, but I don't know, it's very hard to, actually there's more science coming out about energy, which is amazing as well. And I think...
Can I give an example on that? It's a really good point, because I haven't shared this story with many people. Like, you know that I'm not that close to my family. And I went to London last year in June, July, August. Actually, I posted it 1 year, so it must be August. And I remember having a moment with Dad.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I remember having a moment with him and I was like in tears. And I think even my girlfriend at the time was in tears. But I just remember this feeling in my heart that no scientist could put words around. But I was like, I reckon this is the feeling of like family. And it was the first, like, I can't even describe it other than to say it's a feeling in my heart that I've never felt before. Yeah. And for the rest, I shouldn't say the rest of the world, for a lot of people, that feeling is just day to day. It's that family connection, whatever. But it's the first time in my adult life anyway, or that I had a level of awareness and understanding and consciousness to go, it's a different feeling there.
Yep.
So come on, scientists, put your lab coat on and tell me, in words, that energy, that feeling.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah, it is. And as I said, there's more science coming out about it, which is, amazing. But I also think with things like that is, it's very experiential. Like you have to experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
And, every time you do have a session, it doesn't always feel the same either because you're working on different things, different things come up. I'll have some clients that come in and as soon as I put my hands on them, like they'll start...
That's me often, wasn't it?
They'll either start snoring or they're twitching or sometimes they even make noises or, the stomach's gurgling, whatever. Yeah. And a lot of the time they don't actually know that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because they're in like quite a deep kind of relaxed state.
Yeah.
Other times you'll be quite aware and thoughts will be going through your head or whatever, or you'll go in and out. But yeah, when you kind of at the end say to them, what did you experience? It could be a whole bunch of things. And they're like, oh, when you put your hand on this place in my body, this happened, or I saw this, or I felt this, or there was heaps of heat, or I felt these really weird sensations. And it's, you can't, you're not making that stuff up.
Nah.
I did a session on this girl in the past, and sometimes I see past
dead people.
Loved ones.
You see dead people.
Dead people. And I was working on her, and at the end I said, this might sound really weird to you, but who's the guy that is like Dick Smith? And she almost went white, and she just got tears in her eyes. And I said, are you okay? I said, oh, because when I want to put my hand on a particular place on your body, I just saw a full-on image of Dick Smith. And she was just crying, and she said, that's my dad. I said, yeah, he wore the glasses and the hair, the everything. And she said people used to say that he looked like Dick Smith. And
it's crazy, that shit.
Yeah, you can't, there's stuff like that you can't deny.
You can't measure either.
You can't. One of my really good friends is a psychic, and I think people think that's a bit too woo and whatever as well, but they're just reading your energy or your vibration,
Yeah.
And, how do they know when they say, oh, you're blah, blah, blah? They can't be that dead on without, without them
100%.
making it up. They're not making it up.
Nah.
Because your body is emitting a frequency or a vibration, and that's what they're reading. They're highly intuitive. And some people see things, hear things, feel things, know things. It just depends on what, sense you have.
Yeah.
Heightened.
Totally. So what type of person would come to you if people are going, this chick sounds interesting, which you are? What type of people would come to you? What do people come to you for?
So I guess one of the biggest things that Kinergetics addresses initially is trauma.
Yep. Which we spoke of before, physical, mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual.
Yeah. So a lot of the time as a result of trauma, a lot of people these days clench their jaw, or they've got really tight jaws, or they grind their teeth. That's another one. Yeah. To the point where even people are using Botox in their jaw.
Katie Willie, who was on 2 hours ago, Botox in the jaw.
Botox
needs to come see you though.
Or they're wearing
mouth guards
because they're grinding their teeth so badly. So as a result of trauma, on a physiological level, basically what will happen is you will have the trauma, and then your TMJ, which is your temporomandibular joint in your jaw, will lock up in order to protect your spinal cord as a safety mechanism.
So interesting.
So one of the biggest things that happens after that is that your kidneys, which are your fear organ, will jam up. So your adrenals also sit on top of those. So you'll go into adrenal stress. So when your kidneys are jammed up, that automatically means that you will be dehydrated. Yeah, so just because you're drinking heaps of water, fluid during the day, it doesn't actually mean your cells are absorbing it.
Yeah, interesting.
So also being held in a state of, so basically when your TMJ is activated, you'll go most likely into some form of fight, freeze or survival.
Yep.
So when you're being held in a state of stress or trauma 24/7, you use up like chronic amounts of magnesium, like chronic. So calcium and magnesium need each other to be assimilated in the body. So if you're, which to be honest, 99.9% of people walking the planet have had trauma. So
who's the 1% that hasn't?
I don't know. I'm just being
monks.
Don't know. I mean, birth can be a trauma. So
true. Are monks born monks? Or they grow into it?
I think I'm not quite sure.
They take it on later in life.
Yeah, I think they start the teachings and.
Yeah, no, they're traumatized as well. 100%.
But yeah, so I mean, to be honest, it's just trauma creates like a massive physiological cascade in your body, and you can do all the Botox and all of those kinds of all of the things in the world, but unless you actually do trauma corrections, and Kinegenetics has like specific jaw ones.
Yeah.
It's like you're not actually getting to the root cause.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So
everyone should come to you.
Yeah, so they come for trauma, they come for working on, I guess...
breakups?
Breakups, like fear-based beliefs.
Oh, yeah?
Things like that. But I mean, most fear-based beliefs come from trauma.
Yeah.
So, it can be a whole bunch of different stuff, whether it's physical or emotional. Yeah, just wanting to like clear your stuff. Or, a lot of people come and they're like, I don't actually know what I want to work on, but I know that I have like funny thinking around this or that or relationships or, like just underlying stuff.
Gotcha.
So even if you don't know what you want to work on, your body will always tell me.
Show up.
And that's, I guess, the difference also. When people do, coaching or whatever they do, 12 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But the way that I work, I guess, with the set programs, you're actually saying, okay, so we're going to work on
you
this
fall into this category.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And you have like a set program, excuse me. But with Kinegenetics, your body is actually telling you what to clear.
Yeah.
So sometimes people think, okay, I've had a pretty horrific trauma, but your body will indicate to clear other stuff first, where most people would think, okay, let's go straight into it. It's
sure.
like, no, your body's not ready.
Yeah.
Because, you suppress different things, there's different layers. Sometimes you need to clear something in order for that next deeper layer to be able to come up. And you don't want to clear things too fast, because then you can kind of go into, I guess what they call maybe like a healing crisis or, yeah.
Yes.
That's why the body will always be the
body
indicator.
talks, doesn't it?
Barometer, yeah.
Body talks well. And for those who want to come to your page, which I do think is absolutely fascinating, you've got two.
Thank you.
Do you keep your private one private? Is it on private or is it on public?
On Instagram.
Yeah. They're both public?
That's public. I mean, to be honest, that's not particularly
That's just
exciting.
you.
That's just me.
You're doing your thing.
But yeah, no, my Instagram is alexishamer.com _.
That's right. Which bit's underscore? Oh, after
At
the
very
.com.
end, yeah.
Yeah.
I have the link in my personal one, so if you look up Alexis Hamer, it'll be in there anyway.
True.
But
perfect. And that's the best spot to find you.
Or my website, alexishamer.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us so much insight into all things psychedelics.
My pleasure.
Energy and everything in between. That is all we have time for. Gang, we'll be back next week. Ciao.